All right. Why is and welcome everybody to I'll Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at now 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, make sure you make it a Fatty Beer. And, I'm going to give this a moment because we are welcoming a new sponsor here, Hurls. But before we introduce them, Sabres lose. Would you call this a nail biter?
Not necessarily, just because
I call it a nail biter.
Yeah, just because the goal to make it 3-2, it was already 3-1, but it was a closely contested game. I didn't get to see all of it. I was home late from work, but from the moments I did see, they did compete, and it was obviously close, but it seems like Montreal was the better team all night.
Yeah, no doubt. And introduce our newest sponsor. And honestly, I've said it to you, Hurls. I've said it on this show. We're really big on local businesses, locally owned businesses. Hence the relationship now for 3 years with Fatty Beer Company. I am super, super stoked to introduce Extreme Discount Mattress into the fold with the Two Goalies, One Mike family, the I'll Hang Up and Listen family. I got to meet the owner, George Costello, this past week, and their staff, Josh. They were all incredible people, very proud of the work they do here in Buffalo. And honestly, there's unbelievable savings up to 80% off of your everyday low prices, which are already a third to a half of the price of the competitors' so-called like sale prices. You can choose from floor models, one-of-a-kind closeout and discounted models. You'll find premium mattresses for pennies on the dollar with no phony markups or markdown gimmicks. These mattresses are the real deal. You can stop into their closeout and liquidation center at 1625 Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga to see for yourself, Open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And if you're looking for a mattress on a Sunday, family day, need a new mattress, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Make sure you check them out and let them know Two Goalies One Mike sent you. Super stoked to have them on board, Hurls.
Hell yeah. No, I've heard of them before, and I know it's a good business. I've had a lot of family and friends in the Buffalo area that have gone there before, and they've been super happy. And yeah, highly recommend for anybody that's in the market. And even if you're not in the market, go check it out. You might as well find something nice.
I mean, they have the Tommy Copper like pillows there too, which I mean, if anyone's out there familiar with that kind of stuff, like the copper infusion, I know I had like a copper infused like sleeve for my knee once, like knee and leg, like when I heard it, and it does make a huge difference. And again, just go check them out, even if you're not in the market. Just see what they have to offer, because again, I can't stress it enough. They do have like insane deals on mattresses. I'm not just saying that for the sake of a sponsorship. It's true. And I bought a mattress from Sealy. I thought I was getting a great deal from Big Lots during they're going out of business sale. And I've been less than a year into this mattress, and one side is already sinking in, which is like inexcusable. So I think I got ripped off, to say the least, because of maybe they just threw a mattress at me that they've had sitting in back for ages, and they just needed to get rid of it. And they knew, going out of business. So who are you going to complain to? But yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking into a new king size mattress with them without a doubt.
Yeah, no, it's something that you use every single day, right? And it's so
Take care of your
important.
back.
Yeah, it's so important to your life. It's so important to your sleep. And if you don't have a good one, you're going to feel the effect of it. So highly, highly recommend everybody go check it out.
Yep. So if you were to just describe this game in one word, what would it be?
A benchmark.
Like, just give me a one word description.
I would say benchmark.
2 or 3, huh?
I say benchmark is my one word.
Benchmark?
Yeah, because
Why do you say
I
benchmark?
think it's a benchmark of where the team is at the moment. I think they played a pretty good game, but they're not quite at Montreal's level. Montreal made the playoffs last season. Montreal is a step ahead in their rebuild. I think that they have acquired better skill pieces at the top of their lineup, and they've gathered more depth on forward and on defense, and their goaltending has been pretty good recently, even with their backup in tonight. So I would say it's a benchmark because the Sabres aren't quite at Montreal's level at this current moment. But do I think that they could be by season's end with the proper development and the proper production from those top guys in the Sabres lineup, particularly Tage Thompson, who I think needs to get it going a little bit? Yeah, I do. I do think that the Sabres aren't that far off from the Canadiens. But at this current moment, Montreal's a better team.
I'll agree with this comment from Kevin. Controlling the puck seemed to be an issue, especially to start that game. I feel like Montreal was just much more fluid with getting the puck up and down the ice, just defending. I mean, again, the shots were pretty close, pretty even. But at the end of the day, like, I thought they just did a better job clearing the front of their net. Their stars were their stars, to say the least. I think, you let Lenny Hudson kind of spring free there in the high slot. I think the power play had already ended. I'm not sure if that counted as a power play goal, but like you kind of let that guy spring free in the high slot uncontested. I mean, he's pretty much scoring 9 times out of 10 there. Just how good he is. A guy trying to make up for the Olympic roster.
And another example of a guy they didn't get too long ago who's vaulted his way into the conversation of top 20, top 30 D-men in the league. He's obviously very young. Along with Cole Caulfield, along with Nick Suzuki, Slavkowski, they've really accelerated their rebuild in recent years. And obviously it's one of the best environments in sports. And I think they have a very distinct home ice advantage, and they use that to their advantage tonight. And I think they got off to a hot start. Obviously the Sabres were a little bit slow out of the gate. At least I didn't see a lot of the first period, but I saw the stats, and it seemed like they didn't control much of the play in the first. There was a lot of chances, and credit to Alex Lyon again for keeping the Sabres in this game, for giving them a chance to win. But if you look at the stats, not even the advanced stats, shots are similar, but distinct advantage in hits and faceoffs for the Canadiens. So, yeah, I mean, not too many power play opportunities for either team, only 1 for each side. Bit of a chippy game for there only to be 2 penalties. That's or 3 total penalties for each side. I guess that's what it is. Either way,
I mean, the refs let him play, no doubt about it.
21 block shots for the Canadians, and you saw it on that last opportunity for Dahlin. Obviously, desperation. He's just trying to get it to the net, but you get a block shot that turns into an empty net goal. They sold out. It was a playoff atmosphere. It's always going to be, as long as this team is relevant in Montreal. And yeah, I think they got it done the way that they should have tonight.
I do want to address here like a new guy. I've yet to see Ryan Sanders in the chat. So welcome to the show. Tage has been awful. I don't know if I'd say awful, but he definitely needs to be better. Also no Doan in the clutch. What the fuck? I agree. Like we even said it in our own chat. For the extra attacker there, I think I'm rolling 1D being Dahlin, and with how good Josh Doan has been in front of the net, just being a little greasy, a grease ball there in the blue paint. I think he should have been on the ice. I'm not really too sure why the decision was to not have him out there.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. I've seen a few people say that, especially with how good he's been in the past 2 games. So I think if he's on your top power play unit, it makes no sense why he wouldn't be out there with 6-on-5, 6-on-4 type situation. So yeah, I think they'll probably reconsider that next time.
How do you feel about him being back on the wing, Tage, and moving? Kulich scored tonight. By the way, shout out a couple of clicks for Zach Benson with that assist between the legs, getting it up to Kulich. That was beautiful. 6 assists in 3 games now for Zach Benson. Just absolutely, just being almost like a heart type of player, heart and soul type player for this team right now. Obviously, you want to at least get a point against a division rival. These are 4-point swing games, obviously, but again, I've loved what I've seen from Zach Benson, but I think I agree. I would like to see, if this continues, see them move Tage back to center, just because you just don't have depth at the position.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's probably, the commenter just said he should be centering Alex Tuch. It's probably going to give you the most depth up and down your lineup. We even said it before the season, before Norris was injured. I think Ruff's trying to protect him a little bit, but if he's not producing as much as we've expected him to in a winger role, and he's proven that he can as a center, he's proven he can at both, but currently he's not producing at the clip that you would want from your best forward and one of your best players on your team. So yeah, I do think if this continues and he continues to be a little bit stagnant, I think he's got 2 goals this season. I think they're probably going to switch him pretty soon.
Yeah, again, and that's a guy that's trying to make the Olympic roster this year too. Like, you just need to be better. You were left off 4 Nations. We assumed that he would be a shoo-in to start the year, but given this start through 6 games, is that 6 games now? 6 games, right? Yeah. Like this, you just need to be better. You're a guy again. Your ceiling or your floor is 40 goals now, right? You've done it a couple of times. You need to be at that benchmark. Given that the Olympics only roll around once every 4 years, him and Tuch, let's just talk about that. They're both invited to that camp. They both just need to be better.
Yeah, 1 goal in 6 games. He only has that fluky goal against the Avs. So he knows that if this team is going to go anywhere this season, he's got to get at least 25, maybe even 30. And yeah, same goes for Alex Tuch. I thought he was great the past 2 games. Tonight, I had a friend tell me that it looked like he was disinterested. And by far and away, that Zach Benson is our best forward at the moment, which I wouldn't disagree with at the moment. On the team, no. Alex Tuch and Tage Thompson are your best 2 forwards, but they need to play like it, and they need to play like it soon. Because as we've said, obviously the past 2 games were great, and this game was better than those first 3 games in terms of effort and production. But these are division games, and every 2 points matter. 2 points matter. As Alex Lyon said, they need to be desperate. And while I do think they showed a level of desperation tonight, it probably started too late. And in an environment like that, you can't get down 1-0, and that's what they did, and they could never fully catch up.
Yeah, and right now, I said it in the chat, and I'll say it on this show. Right now, they're a 2-line team. I mean, yeah, you got a goal out of Tyson Kozak, which is nice to get a goal from the bottom 6, but reality sets in. Like, this is a 2-line team, especially if Tage isn't at center.
Yeah, well, I think we probably knew that going in, unfortunately, and especially with the Josh Norris injury, they didn't have that much depth. They didn't have that much forward depth. They didn't really add to it that much. Obviously, Greenway getting back would help, but at the end of the day, he's not an offensive dynamo in any sense of the word. So, yeah, it's going to be tough, and I think that's why a night like last Wednesday against the Senators was so welcome, because goal production from a lineup like this with not that much offensive skill are going to be few and far between. So they need to do whatever they possibly can, like we saw in the past two games, to get dirty goals, to defend their own end pretty well. I think in front of their net tonight, they weren't particularly great, especially on the first and third goals. Even on that second goal, I think they probably could be a little bit stronger in front of the net and lift up sticks and prevent that type of opportunity. So, yeah, obviously not as good as the past two games, not as bad as the first three games. I would put this right in the middle in the grand scheme of the season. And you can move on to Detroit on Wednesday knowing what you need to fix and hopefully having that home ice advantage where they
Detroit
played
is on
pretty
a
well
heater.
this season so far.
Detroit was on an absolute heater. I think I saw like Dylan Larkin has a goal in every game this season or something.
Yeah,
Like
he's been
you're going into
really good.
Yeah. Like that's a team that is, the benchmark for them absolutely this season is playoffs, right? Like,
Oh, I mean, yeah, they're 5-1 themselves. I didn't
yeah,
realize
like
that they were as good as they were to start the season. So yeah,
they are on an absolute heater right now.
4-1 at home. They've only played one game on the road, and obviously this is a revenge game for Alex Lyon as well. He only spent a couple of years there, so I don't think he has any ill will for
shout out Florida, right?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any ill will for the Red Wings or their organization. They probably just thought it was best business-wise to go in another direction. But maybe it is for him. Maybe that's that extra motivation that he needs to perform at his best. I thought he was good again tonight, and the opportunities that I saw, I wouldn't put any of the three goals on him. Maybe that third one, obviously Lane Hudson's in the slot. It goes off his pad or off his glove. Maybe he wants that one back. But yeah, as we've said, the two most consistent players in a limited sample size this season for the Sabres have been Alex Lyon and Zach Benson.
No doubt about it. I would even go ahead and say Josh Doan. From Edward, another new guy in the chat we've yet to see on the show. Welcome. Don't give us the Sabres played good crap. They were slow, lazy, so many giveaways, sloppy with the puck. Nobody throwing pucks on net. Everyone looking for fancy goals. I will say this, and I'll agree with Ed to an extent there. I just don't think that they played terrible. They didn't play good. Like, but I think they, and Alex Lyon, shout out to him, was a guy who really stepped up and gave him a chance to win tonight. But I'll agree, like they kind of got away from the thing that got them 2 wins in a row the previous 2 games against Florida and Ottawa.
Yeah, for sure. And there are no moral victories for a team with a 14-year playoff drought. So I think we can objectively look at it for what it is and also say it's not good enough. And this can't be the standard moving forward. This team doesn't have much wiggle room. They don't have the opportunity to lose or drop 2 points in regulation against a team in their own division or against a team in their own conference. Given that they know they'll hopefully, God willing, they'll be fighting for a wild card spot in March and early April. So, yeah, I mean, we can say they played all right. It wasn't good enough, and that discussion can stop there. It wasn't good enough, and Tage wasn't good enough. Alex Tux wasn't good enough. I think the defense needs to be better, and all around they need to get back to what they did so well in those games against Ottawa and Florida, and that is getting to the net. Obviously, getting pucks on net and getting pucks through block shots. 21 block shots for any team in the NHL, especially in a non-playoff game, is way too many. They need to pick their head up and find lanes to the net and get sticks on pucks and get rebounds so that it can make it very difficult for the goalie and not make it easy for a defenseman like it was on that last opportunity to just stand in front of the puck and block the shot in their shin pads. So I think they need to be cognizant of that as well.
Yeah, and again with the extra attacker there. I mean, it was a good block. Don't get me wrong, but you can't if you're quarterbacking that extra, that there at the end, you just have to get that puck through to the net. And Dahlin didn't. And let's talk about Rasmus Dahlin, a guy who he's been involved in a lot of altercations. Marchand, and you saw that. Who was that where Tage Thompson came to his defense tonight? Who was that? Slavkovsky?
Yeah, Slavkovsky went after him.
Yeah, like listen, like. I'm glad he's in and agitating, kind of doing that. Something we've grown, but he needs to stand out more, in my opinion.
I mean, you know what I'm gonna say, like.
No, I do. I know. We all know how good Rasmus Dahlin. Look, listen. We are not sitting here and saying he's not good enough. I'm saying he hasn't been good enough yet.
Well, I'd say that he hasn't played up to like the lofty standard that he's set for himself, but far from the issue with this team, I'd say. If I'm just like looking at it from like a point by point basis, I think Tage's lack of goal production and Tuck's inconsistency are way, way bigger problems than Dahlin's like overall play thus far. I think he's been good in his own end. I think he's moved the puck really well. He has, I think, 4 assists. Obviously, he had that turnover in the game against the Avs. Like he had a few moments tonight that he'd probably want back himself. He's not a perfect player. Nobody in the league is perfect.
No, nobody.
Maybe aside from
Connor
McDavid.
McDavid.
Yeah, or honestly, it's hard to say, but Jack Eichel this season.
6 goals,
Yeah,
7 games.
yeah, I mean it's tough to say, but yeah, I mean that's the standard that we look at Rasmus Dahlin. I think he's a top 10 player in the league, and as we saw when he was out during that 10-game, 13-game losing streak, 10 of those 13 games last season, the team is very, very much dependent upon him, not only meeting his floor, but also getting to his ceiling. And that goes for Tage and that goes for Tuck as well, because this team isn't that deep. You've got 2 superstars, in my opinion. You've got a very, very good, above average star and Alex Tuck. And then you got a lot of role players and you got a lot of guys that are still proving themselves in the league. If Benson continues to play like this, if Doan continues to play like this, they'll eventually get into that star quality, but they're not there yet because they're 20, 22 years old. You know what I mean? They haven't shown that they can produce at this consistent level. I mean, as great as Zach Benson's been, I think a storyline going into the season was that he needs to score. I love his playmaking ability, but he had 7 shots on goal tonight. And we need to see a little bit more finish from Benson around the net for him in his 3rd full NHL season to prove that he is at that level that we were all putting him at. Obviously, he's been great. He's the only reason that we're probably 2-4 at this moment, or like one of the main reasons. But I really would like to see him finish the puck and put it in areas where he can start to score some more goals.
Yeah, I again, there's nothing you just said there that's wrong at all. Ostlund getting called up but not getting the call. Questionable, I think. Gearston, everyone knows how I feel about Gearston. I think that having him on the bench, because like people say he's a waste of a roster spot. Like, I mean, yes and no, because if he plays 3 minutes a night, that means somebody else is filling in that line. So it's like somebody else is just double shifting. You know what I mean? Maybe it's somebody more skilled. Maybe it's a Jack Quinn. Maybe it's a, fill in the blank, whoever. Maybe it's a Jason Zucker. So in reality, yeah, maybe it's a waste of a roster spot for 3 or 4 minutes a night. But on a game like tonight, I know they have Zach a guy who, can, ruffle some feathers, and he's probably one of the better tough guys, agitators in the league. But I do agree, if you were going to bring up Ostlund, whether, for whatever the reasoning might be, I just don't understand not playing him. Yeah,
especially if you're a team that in 6 games this season, you've scored 3 goals or less.
Agreed. You know what I mean? And he had a great year last year. He's had a good start in Rochester this year. He had a goal the other night. Same thing with Rosine. Same thing with Hellenius. I'm not too sure what or why you didn't bring him in tonight. Like, I don't know. And sometimes when you bring in a guy like that, like Kozak tonight, getting into the game night, scores a goal. You know how he scores goals. His 4th of his career, but gets to the net, has a nose for the net. Sometimes when you bring in a guy to play in situations like this, they tend to, show up, play with a lot more energy, play a little more jump. I just don't understand the reasoning for not doing it.
I'm just switching my angle real quick because the Jays are 1 out away from going to the World Series. And
dude, everybody's talking about it in the chat right now, and I'm not going to lie to you, I have it in the top corner of my screen.
As you can see here, I am a
Buffalo Blue Jays. Don't get it wrong.
Diehard Buffalo Blue Jays supporter. Julio Rodriguez at the plate. So this is big. But as I watch, I will say that Noah Ostlund is going to give you a higher offensive ceiling than Mason Gearston. And he's going to put guys in positions to score. He may not score himself, but in the way Zach Benson has done so far this season, he's at least going to create playmaking opportunities, put guys in better positions. So I would have liked to see him in the game tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And, I get like you want one of Josh Doon or Gearston in, but you just got to pick one or the other. There's no need to have both those guys in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And
you're so unfocused on what's going on right now. I love it.
as long as my video is focused, I'm good.
Yeah.
But no, I think that as we've seen, like you don't want Tage taking that penalty with 4:44 left in the third,
No,
a
definitely not.
1-and-1 type situation in a scrum. But if a guy just like Brad Marchand is ripping Rasmus Dahlin's helmet off, somebody needs to jump in there, right? Like
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be Tage, but as Lindy said after the game, I think it was a couple games ago or after last game, there needs to be a pack mentality. There needs to be a willingness
agreed.
to
It can't
defend
be Tage.
your guys. Oh, it's
Are we gonna get
2-2.
a? Oh, come on.
We might get a live reaction here. We'll see. But yeah, got to defend your guys. You have to be a little bit more tough, and that shouldn't fall on your star first line center in Tage Thompson. Personally, probably. I mean, I'm glad he defended the line, but he doesn't need to do that in that situation. There it is.
The Blue Jays are going to the World Series. There we go. I'm a Red Sox fan. Everybody knows that, but since they got eliminated by the Yankees, I've been.
Oh my! But I love. In recent years, I've adopted the Buffalo Blue Jays as like my 1A, 1B type team, and they're super fun. And I'm just happy that they got this done. U.S. Canada World Series.
Though. Great season. Shout out to the Mariners, though. Great season for them.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really, really good ALCS. But oh man, they're gonna get swept by the Dodgers, but at least they made it.
Yeah. So again, shout out again. I mean, you listen, dude. It's baseball. Anything can happen in baseball. The Red Sox were losing to the Yankees in the ALCS in 2004, 3 games to none, and they stormed back. And that was arguably as good of a team on paper that the Dodgers have right now in the Yankees. They had a legitimate, almost an all-star at every position. So anything's possible in baseball.
For sure. Absolutely. But I think this Dodgers team is as much of a wagon as you can possibly.
I mean, I'm very familiar with Mookie Betts, and I'm still pissed off about that trade. Still pissed off. You did not get the value remotely close to the value that you should have gotten back. Same thing with Devers, but I think Devers was addition almost by subtraction, considering that they got dramatically better after the trade.
Yeah. No, that's the thing about the Red Sox. I've been a fan since 2001. When they traded Mookie, when they went into that little slump. Obviously, you don't want to be a bandwagoner, but the Bills actively support the Blue Jays. When they played there during COVID, I really started to get behind them, follow the prospects. Obviously, there's the AAA team in Buffalo. Josh has taken batting practice there before. He's worn a Blue Jays jersey. It's become like a cool geographical type friendship. There's obviously some, as you know as well as anybody, there is some hatred between Buffalo and Toronto from a hockey perspective. But from a baseball perspective, there doesn't need to be any at all, especially because the Bisons are the AAA affiliates of the Blue Jays. So, yeah, I'm super stoked. And, yeah, USA Canada World Series. I'm sure that'll be very interesting.
Yeah. And Ohtani is just incredible, right?
Like, I mean, Friday is the
6 shutout innings and hammers out 3 homers. I think it's what? Like
the single greatest performance in baseball history.
No doubt about it. Like and 10 strikeouts. Forgot about the 10 strikeout part.
Yeah, there's a video. If anybody hasn't seen it yet, look up Shohei Ohtani chronological. It shows his strikeouts and his home runs in chronological order from that game. And it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. He strikes out 4, hits a home run, strikes out 3, hits another home run, and then strikes out 3 more. He's a freak. He's the greatest baseball player of all time already. And yeah, no, it's pretty remarkable. And that's why I say, like, it's going to be really tough for
no doubt about it.
anybody to beat that team. But this upstart Blue Jays team, you never know. George Springer with one of the greatest moments in the history of Toronto sports in that 7th inning.
Yeah, and you know, I'm sure they think they won back-to-back World Series. Was like in 95, 96. Maybe it was 90. It was like their early mid-90s.
I thought they only won once.
I thought they won twice. Somebody in the chat could correct us, but I'm pretty sure they won twice. Okay, back to Sabres. We suck. Suffering
2, yeah, you're right.
They won back-to-back, I'm pretty sure.
92 and 93, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, super stoked for them. Obviously, you had the Raptors a few years back. They have to have a parade. Must be nice to have parades. Do you think they could bring like the Toronto parade like through Buffalo down the QEW and
Well,
make us feel part of it?
Like I said, like there is that connection to the Bisons, right? Like that is like
Yeah.
not nothing. And they did play for 2 seasons in Buffalo. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
sure.
I think we would get at least a part of this.
I do want to take a quick break here to acknowledge our sponsors over at Extreme Discount Mattress. Super pumped to have them aboard.
With Skechers, your day starts with the comfort and support you need for your feet. And now that same innovation has made its way to the bedroom. Introducing the Skechers Sleep System. With cooling SketchKnit fabric, pressure-relieving Skechers Max cushioning, and our Skechers Posture Fit support system. Your day ends just like it began, with Skechers comfort that never stops. Skechers mattresses, exclusively at Extreme Discount Mattress, the lowest prices in the nation.
Thanks again to our not too sure why we're not on the screen right now. That's different. So,
I see us.
Oh, you see us. I didn't see us. So sorry, guys. We're kind of working out the kinks here with the mid episode commercial. Here's the thing, like with the new overlays that we have, which are super cool and everything, like you have to click a couple of different buttons now. Whereas before I just like click a button, out comes the video. You have to click like 3 buttons, get rid of the overlay, because if I don't, then you only see the overlays through our little holes. So, but again, just we're new to this, but still extremely excited to have Extreme Discount Mattress on board with us this year, no doubt. So if you need a mattress, let them know 2 goalies when Mike sent you. Any final thoughts? We've been live here for 30 minutes. I'm sure you want to get to celebrating a Buffalo Blue Jays World Series appearance, but any final thoughts before we get out of here? Again, division game, you need to at least get 1 point in these games. You can't let them be 4-point swings. You check. How do you kind of get back on track to where you were against, again, teams that were dealing with injuries in both Florida, more noticeably Florida, with Barkov, Kulikov, and Kachuk and Nosek, and then obviously the injuries that Ottawa has been dealing with, no Brady, Kachuk, and a couple others. Like, how do you get back on track? How do you get back to that game plan? Is this kind of just like, I don't know. I know Montreal played us tough, and they're a much more talented team on paper than both those teams right now, again, due to injury. But how do you get back in the win column?
I think at home on Wednesday, you use the same formula that you did against the Senators. You get off to a quick start, you get pucks to the net, you capitalize on the power play, and you try to replicate as much of what you did against the Senators and the Panthers against a pretty good team so far, obviously, in the Red Wings. It's a team that is in a similar realm to both the Canadiens and the Sabres in terms of a younger team, aside from Patrick Kane, obviously, but a younger team that struggled in recent years and kind of in a rebuild. They've got guys that need to live up to their own expectations, and they're doing that right now in Dylan Larkin, obviously. So yeah, I think you try to use that same formula. There is a rivalry there, this geographical rivalry. There's a division rivalry. Get off to a hot start. Try to get a couple dirty goals in there, off sticks, off skates, off shin pads. Take the goalie's eyes away, and then obviously defend around your own net. Make it, obviously, that Lion's going to, more often than not, save it if he sees it. Just protect him as much as possible, and try to get the home crowd in it, because as we've seen so far in these 4 home games, crowd's been pretty good, and that's a credit to Sabres fans, especially with all the talk from those first 3 games in the offseason. That win against Florida on Saturday had 16,000 people for a 1:00 game. I was pretty happy to see that. So get the crowd into it early and then roll from there.
No doubt about it. For me, it's just kind of getting pucks back to the net. I still love that line of McLeod. Was it McLeod, Doan, and Tuck? That's a favorite for me. I think you got to move Tage back to center. I wouldn't waste any time with it. Realistically, move Kulik down to either to the wing or as your third line center. I don't know who you move into the on the other wing where Tage is currently playing in the top line, but I wouldn't have it be Tuck, because again, I've loved that line. Him just being out there with Josh Doan, I think it just adds a lot of a different dynamic to this lineup, having two guys who play, plays that net, being able to be a distributor, defensively responsible, in and around the blue paint. He plays that position very well, gets the loose pucks. So does Josh Doan. And having a skill guy like Ryan McLeod who plays with a lot of speed. I love that line. That'd be my favorite line on the team right now, personally, even though they lost tonight. But I think you need to move Tage back to center and figure out who's going to play another wing, because right now it's just not good enough. You need better depth down the middle. I love the goal from Kulich. I know he can play on the wing, right? We've seen him play on the wing. No, he might be better at center, but right now I think Tage needs to be that guy. Or you move Kulich to your third line center and just find somebody else to fill in there. So
yeah, and I think as Lindy starts to understand that Tage obviously isn't producing he obviously understands that, and I think Tage understands that, and they all have expectations for themselves, but got to switch something up. And for a guy who scored 94 points as a center, you probably should move him back to center. And
100%.
Yeah. So I agree. It makes sense, and I think they probably will.
Yeah. With that being said, guys, just appreciate you guys tuning in. Sabres lose 4-2. Unfortunately, not being able to celebrate a 3-game win streak. Can celebrate the Buffalo Blue Jays making the World Series, but fortunately not a Sabres win, to say the least.
This is the first time Toronto's won an important Game 7 in a while. That's for sure.
So I'm sure somebody's tweeted that out by now, right? Like somebody's had to.
Hey, I'm not gonna start any shit with Toronto fans because I'm amongst them at the moment. But you can say that if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I won't be the first to. However, how nervous were Toronto fans tonight seeing Vladimir Guerrero walk in with an Austin Matthews jersey on?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. Like, Austin Matthews isn't the reason that they've lost Game 7.
No. But just the Leafs logo, just in general, for Game 7. I don't know. Maybe that helps lift the curse for Toronto sports just in general. I don't know, but definitely, I probably doesn't know the history there, to say the least. But still, cool to see teams supporting other teams. We've seen it here in Buffalo. We've seen Josh Allen and other players, like you said, support the Blue Jays. You've seen, support the Sabres, a city that supports each other. I will hammer before we get out of here, because we do normally go through the quotes, and there's a couple interesting ones in here, and then we'll be out. From Brian Koziel, let me see here. His post-game quotes. Darlene says the Habs were on top of them. They came out smart and good against them, but in the second and third, they put their foot on the gas and made a great push, but gave up 2 goals. Darlene says they were never trying to get an extra guy out for the late 4-on-4 to make it 5-on-4. They were trying to, but they couldn't make it happen. Kulich says that Montreal out-competed them in the first, but the second and third they improved. Kulich on his goal, the biggest thing was that we communicated. Benny was yelling at me. I love that. Absolutely love that. Ruff says their puck play and battles weren't good in the first, but they broke the puck out better and connected on passes as the game went on. Ruff said that they had lots of opportunities to score. It just wasn't a night. It was a night that they didn't create chances. Said they had overall they had trouble defending the Montreal rush, and had some guys that were tired get caught out there for the third goal against. And that's it, because he just went straight to tweeting out Toronto Blue Jays highlights. So, but I love that on the Kulich comment on the Benny goal. You love to hear that, that those two are working well together. I don't know, maybe it can, again, it's not like 2 out of the 3 played very well in Kulich and Benson. It's just, you got to find a way to get your, 40+ goal score, 2-time 40+ goal score going. So, that being said, if you guys have enjoyed the show, please make sure you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcasts. If you're watching on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, Facebook, YouTube, please make sure you drop an elbow on the like button, and make sure you're subscribed, especially on YouTube. It really goes a long way. Hammer that like button. And again, shout out to Fatty Beer Company and Extreme Discount Mattress. We'll talk to you. When is the Detroit game? Well, actually, tomorrow. We got an episode of Two Goalies, One Mic tomorrow. Talk to you tomorrow night, and then we'll see a post-game show for another edition. I'll hang up and listen against Detroit. Until then, we'll talk to you later. And as always, go Sabres.